Ron, this SEC basketball tournament, you've been very open and honest about it. There were times where you guys weren't focused on that as much as the NCAA tournament. And that's human nature, man. That's not kids being kids. I'm 29 years old, and I would look at it the same way. But I wonder how this team will look at it, because I could make two arguments. One side, you want to play more without Zakai Ziegler to work out that chemistry. On the other side, you want to be as fresh as humanly possible because your bench got a little shorter. What do you think?
I look at it too as with this team coming in this year, I think they got a little bit more because they are defending champs. Now, pretty much everybody came back from that SEC tournament championship. So, like, it's a little bit extra motivation when you're defending something. You know, you got something to hang your hat on. Like, as bad as it was of a season last year to get bounced from the NCAA tournament, you could look back and be like, man, well, this team won the SEC tournament. You know, that was a pretty good championship right there. So if you could hang your hat on that, I think you erase a lot of the season woes, the ups and downs, you know, at least just compete in it. So I look at it from that perspective with this group. I think it's a little bit different. I think that was the problem, man. We hadn't won in so long since Bert Bertelkamp and them. The luster of the SEC tournament wasn't really there, you know. And then you wasn't playing. You rarely were playing to for your NCAA berth going into the SEC tournament thinking, man, I got to win a game. You never really walked into it like that. So it really wasn't a lot hanging in the balance for you. I think that's one way to look at it. Also, I totally understand, man, trying to get some chemistry and trying to get guys because it's different looking at the experience playing in a game than it is practice. You know, I don't care how competitive practice is going to get, how high spirited it is, but you can't compare it to a game, especially if you got an opportunity to play on Thursday where you're kind of playing a team that's, you know, the bottom feeder in the SEC, you know what I'm saying? And you know, talent wise, you do have a better team than them. So you can not lollygag through the game, but you can get a feel through the game and try to feel your way through it and see who plays this spot well, who plays this well, what teams work good together, which five play better together, and test your small lineup, test your big lineup. So you can't get that in practice. You can't get that in practice because you got to tell guys to hold on. Hey, man, don't, you know, be careful a little bit right here. If somebody's got a fast break, let them go. You ain't got to do that in the game. So you can't get the trial and error that you would get from a game that you would get in practice. So I think this team could look a little bit more forward to it. And then you got more seniors. You got more seniors tied into it. I think that was the thing, too, going into mine, man. We lost. I was the lone senior going into my senior year. Then my junior year, I wish I could have played in them, but tore my ACL. My sophomore year, we had a good team, and we were trying to get back on track, winning that won the first game, and it was in Nashville. So the hype was there. Even though Atlanta's not far from Nashville, it was different playing in Nashville. You felt like you were playing in your home state. You're playing with your crowd. So that I think that gives it a little bit different too, a different feel.
Ron, last year, you're right, Tennessee won the SEC tournament. Going into the tournament, they were a 3 seed. By winning the tournament, we all thought they were going to at least be a 2 seed, and then they were put in as a 3 seed. Texas A&M made it to Sunday, didn't even get into the tournament, and it became very clear that the selection committee did not even pay attention to the tournaments. How much danger is the NCAA and the conferences in, where if the NCAA keeps sending this signal that we're not even going to place any value on it, teams decide, you know what, let's do what Greg Popovich used to do when the Spurs had nationally televised games and just bench all our starters to show up the NBA.
I think for those upper echelon teams, that's what's that hangs in the balance. You know, well, like if I'm in Alabama, why would I go play my guys and play super hard if I had some guys banged up that was 70%? And I could wait an extra week and get them to the tournament and give them 90%. Like, it don't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? And then even for the teams that are right there on the bubble, are they really on the bubble? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're looking at Mississippi State. Like, can Mississippi State, after losing to Vanderbilt the regular season finale, can they really help themselves if they win an extra game? Same thing for Vanderbilt. If they make it to the finals, or they make it to the finals, get a quad one win on Friday, playing a Kentucky, and then Saturday they play another quad one win and make it to the championship. Are we gonna put them and lose the championship? Are we gonna put them in the tournament? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you got to make some kind of sense of it. You got to make some kind of sense, because I just don't understand. Like, how can you be playing back-to-back days and nothing be taken from it? You know what I'm saying? I understand the losses. Like, if you quad one loss and you're playing high competition in the conference tournament, anything can happen. So you don't value that much. But winning back-to-back days, especially like A&M did last year, come on, man, that's tough. Especially if you right there teetering on the bubble. I think that's the biggest thing. If you talking about a bubble team, or like you talking about Tennessee, you make it and win the championship, and you talking about one seed, you're not gonna take them up one seed. What are we doing? It's just bragging rights then.
Yeah, I mean, my thinking is, Ron, and it always has been, if you make it to Sunday in a conference tournament, I realize that the NCAA selection committee can't necessarily watch every single conference final game. But if you make it to Sunday in and of itself, that should be a boost in your ranking, and you should be able to adjust that from Saturday to Sunday. Yeah,
you can, and then you start to look at it as a fan, like, is everybody in the room being lazy? Is all the teams already picked out? You know, they like, we ain't watching this game, man. Just go with what we had on Saturday morning. Let's go with that. No matter what happens Saturday, then making it to Sunday. Like, it's weird, man. It's weird. Like, I don't understand it, and it hurts a lot of teams, and it's gonna hurt the NCAA. Like, you're gonna wait too long to make a change and or count that in favor of someone, and you're gonna be stuck. You're gonna be sitting there with your arms crossed, like, dang, man, we should have got ahead of this. Well, it's time to keep on ticking. You keep on showing us the opposite. Be like NIL soon. You'll be trying to backtrack and trying to figure out who's gonna take it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's wild, man. They got to make something of it, though. You got to make something of it.
Ron, what do you make of it from the other side? I think of like those smaller conferences where they play a whole season. You know, you put in the work, you have a great year, and then because there's these automatic bids from the conference tournament, and the NCAA is only going to take one team from this tournament, from this conference, they slip up on a Saturday and they're not going to the tournament. Do you think something should be done to kind of tweak that?
It does, man. You got to get – I don't know if you have to go regionally and get people to really dial in and watch these games, because there's no reason Belmont should have missed it last year either. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going with their record and what Casey Alexander and those guys did, keeping it local. Like, man, they ran through the OVC. So you made them shift and have to get out of that conference to try to get into another conference, so the conference schedule and the non-conference schedule can bolster a little bit. So once they get to the tournament, if they do happen to lose, at least they can be like, man, well, we only lost 2 games all year and one was in the conference championship. Like, how do you punish a team for that? You know, and that's another thing too. If you want to calm this transfer portal down, you gotta pay a little extra attention to these smaller divisions, not like the bottom of Division I, but the mid majors, man. You gotta give them a little bit of attention, because the kids are gonna bolt. They're gonna bolt any opportunity they get to try to get to a Power 5 or somebody that gets 5 or 6 teams in. So if you're mediocre, like a Belmont team that probably last year could have played and been average in a lower Power 5 division conference, it could have got in. You know what I'm saying? With the record, like, it took teams to the brink. And you got to take into account, like, a lot of these big teams don't want to go and play these mid-major schools at their home. So that's a disadvantage in its own self. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot, and I feel for those teams. I feel for those schools, but man, I wish I knew the answer to it, what to do. But it's got to. I think if you were something easier, you would separate it and put 5 guys to come together and have one voice that speaks for the committee. Once those 5 guys talk about it in the South, talk about it in the East, talk about it in the Midwest, talk about it in the West, and come together and have a voice from them, because people ain't really watching them. You're not really watching them. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have 2 or 3 teams in the South that's going to get looked over every single time just because of the conference they're in.